My name is Sabrina, and you are attending today a meeting that we call it the festival. So, Live in Peace Now is the company or the association or the community that is doing this meeting. It's at the end of each month. Actually, we gather to see each other. It's becoming a ritual, but also to talk and discuss about a whole month of teaching, because we are an education-based, a peace education-based community and association. Every month we have a topic or a theme that we choose to raise awareness and to teach. And all the teaching goes around this topic and theme. And for the month of January, the theme is identity. So we gather to speak about identity. If you can see in the chat, I have written some notes. While I am speaking, if you can think about 3 elements or common elements about your identity. Who do you think you are? So who I am is the question, and it has always been the question. It is a question that everyone asks themselves, and it's particularly a very critical question for all of us on the social, on the intellectual and moral, for our moral development. Today we have with us a Professor Rosemary Hyde that she's been teaching this subject and topic since the beginning of January. I personally prepared some question for her, and you can also improvise, or you have any question in your mind about identity, you can write in the chat or ask permission to talk and ask your question about identity. Before this, I'd like to welcome the Professor Rosemary Hyde to tell us what she, through her teaching, she discovered, and what was she teaching, and what also she discovered, because as she always says, we always learn while teaching. So I'm sure she has something to tell us about the topic, and it is a book based that she will introduce. Hi, Rosemary.
Hi, Sabrina. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's really good to see you.
So for those of you who might be interested in finding and reading the book, it's really got a lot of good ideas. It's called The Impact of Identity, and it's by a Russian-born woman who is now in Jerusalem, Israel, and is the director of the Jerusalem Historical Museum. Her name is Irina Nevslin. And we've been reading through the book. Here's about where we are in the discussion. So we've gotten about halfway through. And it's been interesting to really think about, who do we think we are? I had a fascinating experience this morning. I was in a meeting of spiritual leaders, and we were talking about what it means to be a spiritual leader. And we were talking about a meeting that we had all attended in December, which had some news and some announcements about the organization of leaders that we belong to. And there were 6 of us. And as we discussed, as we talked about what we had noticed, what we had, what we had paid attention to, what had struck us during the first meeting that we went to, I listened, And it was so interesting because I could tell what identity people were in their heads when they listened to what was said in the meeting. There was one guy who is African American, and he talked about his perspective as an African American on the content of the discussion, talking about how do you listen to people and how do you help people when they are ill or dying. That was the subject of the meeting. And he identified as an African American, and he pulled out that one perspective out of the discussion. And then a woman made it very clear that she was thinking as a woman, and she pulled out the feminist implications of the discussion. And someone who is deep into a family drama where everybody in the family is arguing, pulled out of the discussion and talked about the parts about family conflict. And someone else in the discussion was thinking as a university graduate, and he talked about what the discussion meant for university graduates. And at the end of the discussion, I just said, hey, you guys, that was an amazing case history experience of how we think from who we are being in the moment, who we are identifying as in the moment. Nobody talked about it as a discussion that applied to human beings, that applied to everybody. It was fascinating. And it was an example for me of how who we think we are influences what we think we hear in a discussion. So when I was talking with Sabrina about today, I suggested that one thing that would be interesting to try to do would be to find a way in which we are like everybody here, aside from all being human. Is there any more specific way that we can identify with everybody? I don't know, but I think it will be an interesting exploration. Because today I was so aware that everybody in the room was thinking from a different identity and weren't feeling one in any way with everybody else. We were all feeling how we're different, which is one truth. We're all different. We're all unique. And we all share a lot about our identity with everybody. So today I want to explore how can we shift from feeling separate, from feeling isolated, to feeling oneness. Because peace happens in oneness. So Sabrina, you said you had some questions.
So first of all, I shared in the chat 3 aspects of who I am. I think I am for everyone to read. Earlier in the chat, I wrote some questions. I'll go through them.
Okay.
I said I'm a woman. Then I said I'm my thoughts and my feelings, and I hope someone can share this with me. And then I said I am my actions and my fears.
Okay. So I'm finding that.
Okay.
I'm a woman. I am my thoughts and my feelings. I am my fears and my actions. Okay. And Syed replied, Syed, do you want to read what you wrote? Hi, Chris. Good to see you.
Yeah, I have any question. I have a
Yes.
question from you.
Okay.
Yeah, you can read.
Yes.
I'm unconfident in my actions. I tried more about I couldn't do what I wanted and want.
Okay. Is that always true? Always, always? Or are there exceptions? Are there times when you can do what you want to do? How many of you here, let's see if I can go back up a little bit. What Syed said, I couldn't do what I wanted and what I want. How many people can identify with that? How many people have felt that way?
I did feel that right before. There are a lot of times where I wanted to do something and I couldn't do it, or I wanted to achieve something and I couldn't. But then time passed by, and I think that it was just not the right time, or it was just not meant to be at this time or point in my life, because later on it's either you do what you wanted, or you just think that it's not bad, like you just couldn't do it, you did something else, and in a way or in another you went through, and that's it.
Okay, good point. So during our lives, we all have that experience. And I think we all eventually have the experience of being able to do what we want, because we change what we want over time. And what we wanted becomes possible over time also. Syed just told me that in Afghanistan, they're opening the universities. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow. And he has 3 weeks of classes left. And then he can take his final exams and get his degree. Oh my God. It sounds to me like between a couple of days ago and now, you've learned that you can do something really important that you wanted to do. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. I am celebrating. I am so happy for you.
Yeah.
That, wow. I mean, can you imagine? It's been like at least a year that the universities have been closed, and to be 3 weeks away from finishing your bachelor's degree and not being able to, that must have been incredibly frustrating. Yes? No?
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you. I wouldn't think one day I'll get my degrees from university, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy. But
Yeah,
my yeah, if that can make me more positive, and that can make me more, and that can make me to do more, and
right.
I'll after this graduation, after this degree, I'll completely change my life, and I'll change my schedules and my I think I should go to a new step, a new plan, and a new
Yeah. And I think that we should have a party when you know the day you're getting your degree. I want to have a party.
yeah, that will be
Is that
amazing
okay?
for me.
Is that okay with you?
That will be amazing for me,
Yeah.
especially amazing.
Yes. So, what are we experiencing here? Have you been frustrated by things beyond your control ever? So that something you wanted was put on hold? Something you wanted didn't seem possible? Anybody
Yeah,
had that experience? Raise your hand. I certainly have. Not with that exact situation, but bureaucracy is bureaucracy. And organizations work when they do and don't work when they don't. Is anyone else, can anyone else feel that discouragement, that disappointment? Have you been there? Anyone? Nod your head or raise your hand or do something. Answer.
yeah, I got a lot of experiences from my college, from my university. This 4 years period is really in full of experiences and adventures, because in Afghanistan, studying in Afghanistan is really difficult.
Yeah.
Because if a person wants to learn and go to university, first should find money. First should find money, because a lot of family can't support the students, and then in their maybe then their kids and childs and boys just to go to university. And
Right.
also my big problem was that I didn't have supporter from my family, because I lost my father
Right.
before in the school time. That was a big problem for me, and I decided I should go to university, because that is the way I can change my life. I can change my identity.
Yep.
And then I decided to go to university. And when I go to university, when I went to university, I saw a lot of new things, new teachers, new friends, and new methods of learning. And that was really amazing for me, especially my new friends, my new life, I, after my university life, everything is new for me right now. I have new friends. I have everything is new for me. The lifestyle, the friends, especially friends, and the learning. Yeah, the methods of learning, and also I have you, and I have Abu, and also Sabrina and other friends in virtual.
Yeah.
That's yeah, due to university, because I learned English language. I learned English language in university, and that's my big achievement in my life. If I didn't learn English language, maybe I'll never face with you, Abu, and Sabrina, and some other friends.
That's right.
There's a
That's right.
big achievements for me. And I decided I'll never stop my learning, because but the problem is that sometime I lose my control, and I say I can't more, is I should stop and should go to work. And then I think, no, you should go. You have time and you have a bright future. And I believe that after that, I'll never lose my control. And just some days and some days I'm so sad and I think I can't do anything more. But yeah, I can't manage myself, but I'm trying to do that.
That's right. Sometimes we think we can't. And what happens when we think we can't? What happens? When we identify as someone who can't, what happens? We've all done this. It's not just Syed. There have been moments when all of us have thought, oh, I can't do that. Right?
Yeah.
Sabrina, when have been your moments?
Yeah. Maybe at the right moment, sorry for the word, but it sucks. But as we go in time, as I said, just things happen the best. You think that it happened the best way. If you wanna, like, I understand that sometimes when you want something too much and that you cannot do it, you may feel upset, and that's okay to feel upset. It's totally okay to feel like you cannot do something. We need to lose things and to let go. And after a moment or after some time, you will think that this was the best thing which happened to you. Maybe it can turn out this way. So it's totally fine, Sayed, that throughout your life journey, you could feel or you felt you couldn't do something or you cannot do something. It shouldn't dismiss your confidence or touch to your ability of doing things. It is just that it didn't happen when you wanted it to happen, but I'm sure great things will happen to you in the future.
Are happening and have happened.
So you asked me about questions, directive questions, Rosemary. Here are the questions. Just look in the chat. The first one would be about factors that shape our identity. Some people, I personally, sometimes think that I am what I think, and sometimes I think that I am what I feel, and sometimes I feel that, or I am wondering, like, am I my feelings, my thoughts, am I my actions? So who am I? So what factors, or if there are other factors, Rosemary, what are those factors that can shape our identity? The second question would be, what parts of our identity can we choose for ourselves? You know that parts of identity or of elements of identity can be ethnicity, can be language, the gender, the age. As Rosemary was explaining, some people, when they speak about identity, they speak about the point of view of a woman or a man, because they are either a woman or a man. They also speak from the angle of age. Someone who is 12 years old or 16 wouldn't have the same maybe definition of identity, the person or people who have other ages, and sometimes also physical appearance or attributes or personality, political attractions. So all of these are elements, or all of these are aspects of identity. So which ones would we like to choose for ourselves or identify to? And the last question, what parts of identity are determined for us and by other people or by society? So
good question.
Yes, so these are 3 questions. We go one by one if you would like, Rosemary, and thank you in advance.
Would appreciate that. Trying to, I mean, there's too much to try to talk about all of it at once. So yeah, please go one by one.
Yeah, so the first one was, Rosemary, factors that shape our identity according to you.
Okay, there's lots of factors that shape our identity, because we we form beliefs about who we are based on our experiences and how we interpret those experiences. We're the ones that create the belief and the identity. And we start doing that when we are 6 months old, believe it or not. We start deciding, what is the world? Who am I in the world? How do I compare to other people that I know? And we make big decisions. And we believe those things until sometime in our life, the decision we made doesn't contradict what we're seeing in a new identity. So we may have decided, like I did, when I was 2 years old, that, okay, nobody's going to love me ever. Okay. I let that identity.
I'm sorry, teacher.
Yeah.
A lot of people think like this.
Oh yeah.
No
of course.
one loves me.
Yeah. That's why I'm bringing it up. It's not just me. I know that now, but I didn't know it when I was 2. And so, one thing I've learned as time went on was, gee, a lot of people feel that same way. And B, I actually have friends. My decision about myself and my identity in the world doesn't fit, does it? It doesn't fit what I'm experiencing, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing. So I have to change my belief. And I've had to do that a lot as I have had different experiences, as I have been able to do things I never thought I could do. Well, if I believed, as I did at one point, that it was so scary to talk in front of other people that I would rather die. That's a common way of thinking too. I didn't know that, but I did feel that way. But it doesn't work that way. When I have spoken in front of other people, especially when I had a microphone that made my voice nice and loud, people listened. Oh, I discovered that I was pretty young. And like every time that we experience something that goes against our belief, we have to change our belief or live in no man's land, right?
Yes.
We have to.
Yeah.
So we go through a lot of identities in our lives. We're testing them. We're always testing them. And they evolve because they have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so to summarize, guys, for this question, Rosemary was saying that what shape our identity is our beliefs, but as we evolve and through experience in life, those beliefs may change. So new identities may be embraced.
Absolutely. And if we don't change, we're not living in real life.
Absolutely, yeah.
There are people that choose not to change, and they live in fairy tales.
Yes, yeah, true. This is leading us to the second question, Rosemary, because we have 20 minutes left. So the second question, among those elements of identity that I have wrote, so race, ethnicity, gender, age, sexual orientation, physical attributes, personality, political affiliations, and religious beliefs. Which ones would we choose? So, for example, if someone, what I wanted to mean here, if someone doesn't feel that he belongs to a specific element of those, though he has been I don't know, born, or he was born and raised up in this, but he doesn't feel. It's a matter of feeling belonging. What can we say to him or to her?
Whatever pieces of identity we feel comfortable with are the ones we choose. Now, everybody else has pieces of identity that they find important. So somebody might look at my skin and my hair and think, oh, she's white, she's European. But I have a grandfather who was Native American. That's a part of my identity, but it's not visible. And we all have aspects of our identity that aren't visible. Yes. I know, for instance, that there are certain aspects of my body that cause disability, but they're not visible. But I need to be aware of them. Like, for instance, I have allergies to certain foods that are very, very common, like wheat and milk. So what that means is that when I go to a restaurant or a party or someone else's house, I should probably bring something that I can eat, because I won't be able to eat most of the food that people prepare for parties. That's something about my identity that's really important for me to pay attention to, because it could kill me. But it's not something that other people look at me and know about me. You know, we all have stuff like that. Things that we need to be careful of because we have the body we have. It's not anything we chose. We just have to deal with it.
Yes. Thank you, Rosemary. So all of you here, I'd like you in the chat to write from above, like from those elements, what elements that you more identify to, or you think they decide upon your identity. So for me, I am writing about myself. I think that personality, well-being or lifestyle and physical attribute are 3 elements I would definitely choose to identify to. So what about you? Is it age? Is it ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, personality, political affiliations, or others?
Do you want to try doing the breakout room and see what people come up with?
Yes, why not? Just like I'll give people some time to think about it while I am asking you the last question. And then we will put them to discuss all of it and to share things.
Okay.
All right. So the last question in the series of questions I have prepared is, what parts of identity are determined for us or by other people or by society? So there are 3 elements: the us, people around us, and community, small communities and society. What do you think, Rosemary?
I think all 3 of them. Keep interacting.
Yes, I couldn't expect better that sense. Yeah, but what do you think about the pressure of those elements, like up in our identity?
Well, I know that for me, when I'm looking now as to who might be a friend, who I might consider a friend, the most important thing for me right now at this point in my life is a willingness to be one with other people and with the earth. You know, spirit, this, for lack of a better word, spiritual definition of who am I? And I'm not really, it doesn't matter. All the things that we've talked about doesn't matter what my gender is, or, you know, what the color of my skin is, or how old I am. Those things are not that important in terms of who I really am. Who I really am is somebody that really wants to explore the oneness and the truth of that we all share, beingness and the ability to love and the ability to be at peace with ourselves and with other people. So over time, that has become the aspect of myself that I pay the most attention to and look for in other people.
Thank you, Rosemary.